Good day and welcome to Lifestyle Show. My name is Arthur Mafokate and I'm chilling with Tall Esmo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
How are you?
My brother, I'm blessed. I'm feeling amazing. And yeah, the grace of God is upon my life every single day.
Yeah. I felt like you were preaching the grace of God is upon my life, and I felt like going back to my room and fetch a Bible. Are you well, my brother?
I'm well, and it's Ngabantu, So I'm fine. It doesn't really cover a lot of what's really going on with you. If you say you're fine, then you'll be fine. But when someone asks you how are you doing and you say you're blessed, you are proclaiming, you are manifesting.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about blessed, and I'm looking at your name, Tall S. And how do the two combine? Tall as Mo. Basically, it's TOL. Totally outrageous laughter. Avant-garde street style Mo. That's what it stands for. So a lot of people just think it's tall as Mo because I'm tall. That's what I thought.
Yes, I am tall. But trust me, when I'm in the States, I'm not that tall.
The first time I met you, you were still a kid.
Yes.
And not a kid, but
I was a teenager.
I think it was, a teenager. Mm-hmm. I think you were at Ekurhuleni booked for some event, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct, yes.
I don't know if it was done by DJ's Boo or TK or something.
It was done by TK.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where was it? Empress,
it was at Birchwood.
Birchwood.
Yes.
You made me laugh.
TK, thank you. TK no putomdalo sbu. They've been doing this festival Ekurhuleni. Like it's an all white situation every end of the year type vibe. And being the first comedian coming out of a Tembisa, DJ Spoon or TK really embraced me a lot, and they said, Mo, come and MC, come and perform, come and do your thing.
So are you from Tembisa?
Yes, originally.
Wow.
Born and bred Tembisa, Hospital View. A Hospital View at Tembisa.
Oh, a cheese boy.
No scheme. No, I'm saying cheese boy, bro. It's like, I was just blessed enough to grow up in an affluent area in Tembisa. And Akonom Kulwam was into business as well. And he loved the world of film. That's why.
Hence I'm saying cheese boy, because the first time I went to Hospital View, I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe that I was in such an area. Remember, during the days of apartheid.
Yeah.
Imagine Hospital View during those days.
Correct.
I was a dancer. I don't even know if you even know what Nico is.
I know Nico very well. Okay. Actually, he was my grandfather's friend. And I was there on the music video shoot for Brenda Fassie's weekend special at King's Palace as well. Yeah, that was my grandfather's nightclub. And we had another nightclub called Choose Me 1 and Choose Me 2.
Yes, I remember Choose Me 1. And there was another one there at the corner before you go to Rabasutu.
King's Palace.
No, even before King's Palace. I forgot the name. But the owner was a former mayor.
Yes. I don't remember exactly what the name of that club was.
Maybe you were not even born.
Yes, probably not. And then we had what I like about this is that it reminds me of how my grandfather was in love with production as well. He opened up the first cinema.
Oasis is the name, Oasis is the name of the club that was there at the corner. Oasis.
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 Yes.
Oh, do you have
Oasis, yes.
Point to education, Tina City, Oasis. What do you call it?
Oasis.
Oasis. Oasis.
No, Oasis was quite a big club. Nabos, Nikos, Nash, those were very, very big clubs.
I used to break dance there till 2 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Nabu Andrew.
Yeah. I used to sneak out of home and go to Nico and participate there. Yeah.
So I've been there. I've been in Tembisa.
Are you first time?
No, I know Tembisa inside out. I was once jailed at that station. What's that station? No, a station, a train station.
Or train station, there's
Okmore. I was once jailed at Okmore. I mean, guys, I've been through a lot, so I've been there.
Easy.
Because remember, we used to travel as dancers.
Yeah.
And
you're not allowed to have that kind of movement during there.
Yeah. I was jailed many times in Pretoria and all those things. But to everybody at home who doesn't know who Tall Esmo, I know that everybody knows you. But who is the real Tall Esmo?
Tall Esmo, Umongezi, Ungobondwane. Umongezi wakaMahlangu. Umongezi intwana seTembisa. Umongezi we Zulu saka Ngobondwane of like many. My grandfather was a polygamist, he had 2 wives. And I grew up in a compound family whereby like to see the same kind of setup you've got here.
How are you buyer at the Hospital View?
Like my grandfather, they literally built 3 houses next to each other. The middle house was for him and his grandchildren. House number 1 for house number 1, wife number 1. House number 2 for wife number 2. And it was Pila Ganjad.
And then the comedy?
Wow.
Where do you start thinking, no man, I am actually funny?
I used to make a lot of people laugh because I'm a storyteller, you know. So sometimes when I describe my stories or tell stories, you know, that's where my humor kind of comes out. I don't do knock jokes or whatever. The humor is in the experience, you know. So
you know, I always ask myself, Nina, people that are like comedians.
Yeah.
You know, I've sat with a comedian here, trying to understand how you guys craft jokes. You know, because I find myself talking and people laughing, but I don't understand what makes them laugh.
Yes,
because sometimes I'm serious and they laugh.
Correct.
You know,
me, I have a
like now. I said I was jailed and then they laughed.
Why
were you guys laughing? I was jailed and people are laughing. How do you guys craft a joke?
Do you know what? Jokes are crafted in many different ways. There's a simple formula to create a joke. You have the introduction, you have your storyline or your story, your body of the joke, and then you have a punchline. And then with those three notes, you can play around with it. You can punchline, storyline, intro, or you can intro, punchline, and then give us the story. You know, so you can play around with those type of things. But with me, I kind of learned those things as I was on stage. Because with comedy, there's no practicing behind the scene. I can't sit down with one person and say, don't you can't. You can't do that.
But what if they laugh before the climax?
Then that's great. You work with pauses, and because comedy is rhythm. If you listen to, like, for example, the music I listen to teaches me to have comedic rhythm, and it allows you to give the audience a chance to breathe in your information. If they laugh, let them laugh it in, and then while they're laughing, you keep on kicking them. You keep on. It's like, you know, when someone tickles you and you're laughing, and you keep on tickling. That's the same thing that we're trying to do with the comedy joke, basically.
Because I laughed because you were mixing a lot of Venek.
Yes.
I think there was some Tsonga jokes there.
Yes.
It was very funny.
Yes. Do you know what? Because basically what I do is that I pick up from experiences. So if there's two construction workers talking, and I can hear the conversation is hot, you know, and then you hear the conversation, hey, but watch Beyonce. by one. I'm like, no, this is information I can roll with. Then
and you start crafting it.
Correct.
You just take the by one.
Because of that, then I can create a whole story based on that punchline. Yeah.
And who tells you that you're funny?
That's the thing, it's the audience, eh? They decide on the spot. It's actually the second scariest job in the world. The most feared job in the world is public speaking. First is traffic control for airlines. That's the most stressful. And then the second most stressful is stand-up comedy. That's why you find a lot of comedians who fall under depression, a lot of comedians who commit suicide, a lot of comedians who die with a smile on their face, because it's just a weird, confusing space to be in sometimes.
And somebody told me those kind of things. I think Leon Schuster as well. They say he went through depression and he was suicidal. That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. A couple of people, we've just recently lost one of our stand-up comedy brothers. His name was Ebenezer. And Ebenezer also took his life because of stress, of the conforms of life and this industry itself having so much pressure. You having to keep up. Because with comedy, it's not like music. With music, you can drop that one iconic track that lasts forever. And then with comedy, you have to keep the jokes fresh and coming every single time you're on that stage.
I know you're one of those people that went through depression, but with you, I don't think it was the case of running out of jokes.
No.
Because with others, I sometimes think, what if maybe it's running out of jokes and you start feeling like I belong nowhere?
Yeah, with me, it was more of a minimalized opportunity it was a reducted opportunity, because I don't know if you're aware that I was once falsely accused of rape. And this kind of was the, how can I say, a lot of people would say the destruction of my career, but I believe it was the pinnacle of my life.
I always say to people, sometimes it's already written in your script that you have to go through these things.
Yes.
And it's how you react to it that takes you further.
And
actually, it might be an ignition to greater success, because then it makes you actually think and get out of your comfort space.
Yeah, I was taken out of my comfort space, but I put a hell of a lot. It's more than just getting out of your comfort space. it's not being able to work. You know, when you have the ability to work, but then the industry, unfortunately, just, you know, doesn't give you that room to work, because you have this thing on your name, even though you've been proven innocent, but then it just stays. It's just it's a terrible stigma that is very difficult to remove. That's why I stood up and I fought for my life. But like, I really did. I never bottled this thing inside, because once us as men bottle emotions and feelings inside, that's when we cry bullets, you understand? So I decided to go on a campaign and fight for my name. I really did, man. I cried on national TV. I spoke to so many people, like different journalists, who also tried to make me look like I'm a bad person, but then I had to let my true self come out and let the people who are responsible for my life, for my livelihood, decide if I'm worthy enough of their presence or not.
A lot of us go through such things where you are falsely accused of things, and you know, there's this, what do they call it? Cancel culture?
Cancel culture.
You know, how did you deal with the cancel culture climate? Because I can relate to what you're saying, and it's hard to prove to people that, you know, beyond that, I always say, you know, they say bad publicity.
It's good publicity.
But sometimes it's not.
Not in South Africa.
Yeah, sometimes it's not. Because
not in South Africa, yeah.
You might not recover.
No, it's very difficult.
You know, you're lucky to have recovered. And, you know, it's because of the support that you have out there and those people that know how genuine you are.
Correct.
But then
in the bigger scheme of things, in the corporate space, you'll never see me being the face of anything. I mean, I was the face of Mzansi Magic, the face of so many different new channels that came up in South Africa, you know. How can I say? I was a pioneer in a lot of things in this industry, but then that seemed to have been erased just over that accusation, that false accusation.
And it's very frustrating, because I'm asking myself, are we ever gonna get to a point, maybe not in this generation, where people know that you went through the court procedures and you were proven not guilty, and you are just as normal as anybody
else. But the crazy thing is, it was not just being proved not guilty, it's being vindicated that the person who had filed these charges against me was completely lying and was doing it for financial gain. Yeah.
But you're still not forgiven.
No.
By the corporates.
No.
Because the question is, how do we turn that around? Because it might happen to your children. It might happen to the very same people that are victimizing you.
Correct.
It might happen to their kids. It might happen to their relatives. Like, how, at what point are we going to, you know, get an opportunity to explain to people that we need to change?
It's podcasts. Podcasts like this are not regulated by big broadcasters. So this is one of the few spaces where we actually have a chance to air out our grievances and actually be heard.
Without being filtered.
Without being filtered, that's correct. Without being filtered, you know. So it's very important that we have such platforms.
At that point when you're going through such, everybody disappears as well.
Correct. You guys, you don't understand. The lights go off very, very quickly.
Yeah.
The lights go off very quickly. And you know...
like even your best friends disappear.
Yes, they disappear.
Or the phone calls they make, you can tell, man. Yeah. This phone call is actually about finding out something rather than helping you.
Than helping me. There was a time when my phone was literally quiet for like, I think 5 years. 5 years, my phone was not ringing. It was not ringing.
And then how do you make it back?
I fought for my life. I had to stand up and say, you know what? I'm going to speak for myself. And that's exactly what I've been doing. Even though the corporates don't like it, they don't like you speaking for yourself. They don't like you not speaking for yourself. So it's like you caught in limbo, in the middle of limbo. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go out there. I'm going to find another way to create an income for myself. If the industry is not working out for me, what is my plan B? What is my fallback? So,
because I sometimes, sorry to say it, feel like corporate as well can be abusive.
Yes.
Because if they lose clients, they do a SWOT analysis, and then they find ways to bounce back and recapture that market.
Correct.
But why is it that they don't try and look at it from that perspective in your case?
they never get cancelled. No matter how much mistakes or no matter what they do, they never get cancelled. It's just simply because they run everything. So that's the hard part. I think that if corporates were to also take social responsibility and say, okay, fine, we're wrong with these one or two things, what's called, can we be given a second chance to be able to operate or to work? They are given a second chance by the people. You know, the people won't cancel you. I don't think that I'm cancelled by the people. I think that if I were to come back with a new reality show right now, to be the highest watched reality show in South Africa, as I was one of the pioneers in reality television in South Africa, you know, so.
I guess sometimes you just have to tell your own story.
Yes.
You need to find a way. And I'm loving what you're saying about fighting back. Because if you don't fight back,
if you don't fight back, you're out. And I've got children. I've got 3 beautiful daughters that I have to work hard for. So if I give up, then what about them? You know, in this current climate that we're living in, I don't want to see my daughters as, selling themselves off on social media, like, with what the current, like, as you can see, what a lot of people are doing with social media. It's because of the situation. You see, some of the people don't enjoy what they're doing. It's showing their bodies and being naked and being seductive and sexually flirtatious. It's not within that person's character, but you find that person has to do it because it's the easiest and the only way to be recognized in the industry like this and for you to make money.
But don't you also think that people that get victimized also assume that everybody has cancelled them and they end up, they themselves, cancelling themselves out? Because you might find that I'm sitting here with Toles, but he's never done any proposal since then because he was made to believe that
I'm cancelled.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think you did a proposal ever since then.
No. Only now, recently, I'm starting to do proposals again.
Yes.
I'm re-interacting with government again.
The other week when I saw you, I didn't even think of those things.
Yeah.
I just saw my favorite comedian. Did you see how I jumped when I saw you?
Yes, you did.
I said, Karabo, come with the camera.
Yes.
And we just started talking to you, know, because for me, I saw a superstar. I saw my favorite actor, my favorite comedian. And I knew I was going to get good content.
Yes.
Can't we look at things that way? More especially when we know you're not guilty of anything.
I believe that that South Africa is open and ready to embrace second chances. You know, but the industry doesn't allow for second chances. That's the thing. And even if you've done something wrong, are we not supposed to be taken to reform and then after reform be reintegrated into society again? So it becomes a little bit of a catch-22. People don't really care. It's like once you've done wrong, you're branded as that and you're going to stay that. You know, it's almost like if you're the troublesome kid at home. If anything breaks or if anything happens, monges! You know, they don't even ask, they don't even check. It's Mongezi first, and then after we investigate and we see, okay, it wasn't him, you know, or it was him, you know.
Let's look at Tol S's career before all the accusations or the scandals or whatever you call it.
Oh man, I was flying high. I was flying super high. I mean, at that point in time, I was nominated for an Emmy. And that Emmy was for Best International Stand-Up Comedy. And I was at the point whereby I was on, 6 different channels at the same time. So you could watch me from Monday to Sunday. On Wednesdays, you could watch me on 4 different channels back to back, 8 to 8:30 on ETV, then from 8:30 to 9 o'clock on Mzansi Magic, and then from 9 o'clock to 9:30 on One Magic, and then from, literally, that's how I was like. I kind of broke the barrier of, I don't know if you remember, there's a time where SABC talent couldn't do work.
Yeah, they were not allowing you.
Yes.
Or you would just be...
I was like, man, I'm tall as Mo, bro. I am tall as Mo. If I'm going to be on this show, trust me, I'm going to give you me and the best of me. Yeah. And it's not just for SAPC, it's for the viewer.
Yes.
So if you're going to put me on ETV, I'll give you the best of me still. You understand? So I managed to cater to manage and work those deals and made them favor myself. And I gave them something fresh for each channel. That's why they were like, it was not repetitious. It didn't feel like it was a repetitious thing. And I've never acted before. I was only doing me. I've only played myself.
Please mention those shows.
Wow. Where do I start?
Yeah. It's a lot.
Wasala. There was Excel's talk. There was Casilicious, my VIP recipe. There was Molove or 1, Molove 2 and 3. There was Mo and Mome. There was what's it called? SA's Got Talent. There was wow. There were so many different television shows I've shot. If you look at my TV essay profile, I'm sitting on 9.0.
I was shocked when I was doing a research.
Yeah.
Hence I'm asking, because I feel like we are not celebrating you enough.
Do you know, I do feel that. I do feel that sometimes.
I mean, I do prepare for shows.
Yeah.
But this is scary. Over 20 pages.
Wow.
Of my research. I don't even know where to start.
Wow.
Hence I'm allowing you to tell your own story. Because it's actually scary. What you've achieved.
What I've done, yeah.
Hence, earlier on I said you're a young legend because I was actually shocked.
Do you know what I thought to myself the other day when I woke up? I'm like, wait a second, I think that I'm only going to be celebrated when I die in this country. And that's where you're going to see it. That's what it is. When you die in South Africa, that's when they kind of remember and recognize you for who you are.
It's like our music. I always say most of the songs will be played when I'm gone.
Correct.
Yeah.
All of those songs will come back again. Meanwhile, they're supposed to be playlisted as legendary tracks that set the foundation for South African music for what it is today. If it wasn't for you, I don't think there would be Amapiano. There wouldn't be a so-called hip-hop culture because you were the first person to actually rap. You were rapping back then.
That's what I was saying to people that have been doing rap.
Yeah, you were rapping, you know, and you rapped in a way that was able to be relatable to us as people. I think you've also been through so many different ups and downs in your careers, but
hence I understand you.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you're not shy about the fact that you're fighting back.
Yeah.
To reclaim what's yours.
Correct.
Because you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And if you didn't do anything, I wish we could find a way of dealing with cancel culture. And I think a lot of topics are being addressed in this country. You know, there's GBV is addressed, there's crime is addressed, there's a whole lot of all these foundations. But what about something that addresses
cancel culture?
Yes.
They did a show.
Unfollowed.
On one of Unfollowed.
I refuse to go there.
You were there. You did the right thing by not going there. You did the right thing by not going
because
there.
I don't think I'm cancelled by anybody. I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Why me? I said, I'm not your content, your type of content. Maybe go to somebody.
I understand.
Because you're not going to build a story about me and create something that doesn't exist. And I endorse it. Why did you endorse it?
I was trapped. I don't lie to you, you know. And I think that the journalist that was interviewing me was very biased, you know. So he kind of made it seem like, you know, even though I've been proven innocent, that doesn't really matter. What matters is the real victims. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, they do matter as well, but I'm also a victim of my own, of this circumstance. So it's not.
What do they mean by real victims?
They're talking about, yes, it's okay you are proven innocent, that you are not guilty of this thing, but then what about people who are? What about the victims who have actually gone through this thing? What do you say about that? I'm like, I don't have anything to say about it because I don't have any experience in that world. So why would I be commenting on something I have no experience in?
But then when you had the title, didn't you suspect something?
When it was Unfollowed, I thought that it's a reignition of my career. Like, this man was unfollowed and now you're going to get his real story and understand exactly what happened to him.
Oh, I hear what you're saying. Like you with me, I sort of started avoiding traditional media.
Yeah.
You know, and looking at podcasts, there was no podcast that I felt was celebrating who I was. I think I was helped by my son. I said to AJ, what's Unfollowed? If I remember quite well.
AJ, you did a good choice there, my brother.
AJ!
Nice one. Come on.
He then said, don't go there.
Yeah.
You know, because for me, it didn't really mean anything. You know.
And the paycheck was nice.
Oh, they were paying you guys as well?
Yeah. They paid me after the interview. It was their highest ranking interview on that entire season. It was their highest watched interview. As a matter of fact, their promo alone on Twitter and on social media did over more than 2 million views.
At least they pay you guys.
Yeah, no, that I got paid
At least they pay you, which is good.
Other interviews, not necessarily so. But the things that South Africa needs to understand is that my financial situation was the one that was most highly affected. And that still today is the fact, you know. And I'm trying to rebuild myself into a position whereby I can afford all the things that I was able to afford for my kids, to be able to put my kids back into those schools that they used to go to be able to live in that neighborhood I used to live in, to be able to drive the car that I used to drive, to be able to afford to get my kids the clothes that they need to wear on during winter time.
But do people know that it can happen to anyone?
Yeah, we're all sitting ducks. A lot of men don't understand that if we don't support each other, the day it comes to you, then who are you going to have?
Because it can happen to anybody.
To anyone. You can be a sitting duck. Tomorrow, all of a sudden, you got a girlfriend who doesn't appreciate the things you're doing for her. And then she can go onto social media and say, this guy, he raped me. This guy, he abused me. This guy is this, And, oh, yes, a lot of people like to ride on my name for success. That's another thing. Like, I just failed to understand. Up-and-coming comedians, up-and-coming celebrities, whatever. They'll ride on your name. Like, anything. Like, when you are being crucified, everybody's going to come and throw a stone. Everyone is going to
Oh, so comedians can make jokes about each other.
Yeah. And now it's become heartless. Now it's become another thing. It's like they can talk about your kids. They can talk about your wife. There's no... when I first came into the industry of stand-up comedy, there were certain unsaid rules that we wouldn't play with.
Yeah, like because I thought you guys don't do jokes about each other.
No, we don't do jokes. I don't think what was happening with my career was more like jokes. It was more of people ganging up, saying that, actually, it's about time that you move out of the space so we can, Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh,
so that's why I only do one-man shows now. Literally, if I do a show, I put my face on the poster now, then I sell my own tickets and I'm out. Yeah.
Yo, that's scary.
Yeah, it is very scary. It's scary to kind of...
and you went through depression.
Yeah. Yes. I was actually admitted into a mental wellness clinic for around about 8 weeks. Yeah.
You sit there for 8 weeks?
For 8 weeks, highly medicated, because I was in disbelief. I just woke up as a rapist one day. That's it.
And did it happen immediately after the accusations or after very...
It took time. When the reality started sinking in, when I had to move my family from Sandton and go and live on a farm, it was to protect the livelihood of my children. Because don't forget, my children are also little celebrities. I mean, all my kids were born on TV. I got engaged on TV. I started dating on TV, got engaged on TV, got married on TV, raised my kids on TV. My kids were born on TV, And I think that I gave South Africa my life, my true life, And then just one tweet came out and then all of that was just taken away from me.
And what do the producers do? They just decide and write your letter and say,
yeah, they have to
the show is canned.
They're impartial. They're saying that they're being impartial. Yeah, so they're not saying that I'm guilty or not guilty, or they're not saying that they believe her or they believe me. They have to protect their entity and say that we can't associate with you or that person.
Which makes sense from business point.
Correct.
Correct. Just in case you are guilty.
But even after proven innocent, that impartiality still stays. They still say we're being impartial at this moment in time. So you can never get back. You can never get back.
And then how does one then survive after
business?
8 weeks?
Oh, after 8 weeks of being in the mental...
Yes, I mean...
family.
Oh, it's hope? Is it...
For me, it was prayer. It was prayer.
I was about to say that.
Following my gift as well.
And talking about your gift, how does one get to a point where they know they have to go practice being a sangoma?
It happens in so many different ways. With dreams, it happens in you being a reincarnation of whatever ancestor is with you. It happens with the happenings in your life when things are just, like you just don't understand what's going on with your life. There's a lot of mishappenings. There's a lot of curious things that just don't make any sense. And then you reach the point whereby your heart takes you to a place whereby you think you're gonna get help. Now my heart took me to Isaac Mkhosi. I found this gentleman. No one referred me to him, but I met my Kobela in a very spiritual way. And he took care of me for so many years. For 3 years I was with that man. It took him a year to heal first before I started Uktwas. So I was a Petlueni for 2 years, literally.
Yeah.
And I went back again. Yeah. Again, So with that, that's my African spirituality. That's who I am. And
did you believe in it before?
No. I never understood it. I never believed in it. I've never been to a sangoma in my life.
And then suddenly you find yourself
yes.
being one.
And then your parents come back and tell you, no, actually, Monga is not into Sakaya, by the way. It's just that now we're living a more modern life. So they've been suppressed in our family lineage. Can't you know? It's alive with you. So because it's alive with you, we need you to go and do this thing so you can save the rest of the family.
And you had to honor.
Yeah, I had to honor it. Even to this day, I'm a Tambo Nyawashai. I've got
you could have brought them into the studio and tell us about TLL. Tell us about TLL. What's the future for TLL?
You know what? I don't lie. I actually scare myself sometimes, you know? And I don't...
Because later is pop 5 and 2.
Yes. These numbers, there's dice, there's dominoes, there's different bones, there's certain objects and items that when you see them, it resonates with you and you can read certain vibrations from this particular object. And when you throw it, when it's thrown on the floor by chance, everything that happens there, it's random chance. The bones will never sit the same way twice.
Wow.
Yeah, so those are the things that I got to learn and understand and be like, it's like that difficult. You have to know these things, you have to understand.
And you have to explain them.
Yeah. Yeah, if it stays far away from you, then they ask, hey, why listen? You're like, hey, my brother, hey, don't worry about those people. They're out of your life. Don't stress. It scares me as well. I don't want to lie. I really do feel scared because I just imagine coming across something that you never believed existed and you see it happening working in front of you.
And then you throw them in one, just go far away.
And you know what? You can also check yourself. But for me, what I like doing is I like leaving things to fate. If I wanted to, I could check my destiny every day. I could check my bones every day.
Isn't that scary though?
It is.
Knowing...
It is. That's why I never check myself. I just let things happen. And I give people the benefit of the doubt. Once you start... Excuse my language, you start fucking me over, then I'll check my bones. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't get this thing right. What is up with this guy?
Is that why you were late today? Were you checking about the situation?
I had to check one or two things. You know?
But did they honestly tell you how powerful I am?
I didn't check.
No,
No, I didn't check. You are extremely powerful. All of us as African beings.
No, because I've met somebody before and he said, and you're too powerful.
Yeah, you can't tap into someone's spiritual life without their permission. That's why it's so dangerous for like people who have the spiritual gift and they haven't yet gone to the rites of passage or then they give you your advice, like when they it been staggy with song. That's why I'm coming. You are alone. You understand? You're like, what? You know? So you have to learn how to control this thing because it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. You can't take spiritual advice from people who have not learned how to discern it and how to give it to you properly, because there's counseling that comes with these things, because sometimes you reveal things in someone's life that they were not ready to hear, and you have to kind of break the news down to them in a way that will not freak them out, and you have to give them solution, give them hope, and say, but this thing is rectifiable. Your ancestors are giving you a chance to fix this thing if you follow Liato 1, 2, 3, if you do this 1, 2, 3, you know?
So somehow then you multiply your growth stature, because you become somebody that is more senior than us
myself.
Normal. Yes.
Correct. That's the scary part is this, is that I've got this second intuition that's in me, you know, that's this ancestor, you know, and I just buy, you know, he's not thrilled by the things that happen in the world. That's why he allows me and he empowers me, and God empowers me to be able to say, do you know what, I'm not here because of Abantu, I'm here because of a higher reason. I'm here because God, number one, and I'm here because my ancestors, and I'm here because my family, and I'm here because of, you know, the love that I have inside myself. So if everybody can understand something, that God is within you, that's why when they say pray with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, you know what I'm saying? Where do you think all your mind and all your soul and all your heart is? It's inside you. You know, and if God knows your thoughts and knows your heart, then where is he? He's not outside you, he's inside you. For him to know what you're thinking, for him to know what you feel, there's only one way he can ever know that, is that if he's inside you. So when we proclaim things and we say things like I am or I am not, you know, that's what you'll be.
You know, after what you just said, you know, it just rang in my mind that there's a certain arrogance between, you know, Christians versus what you believe in.
I am
How do we, yes, because sometimes there's an arrogance from certain parties.
Correct.
You know, you've mentioned God and you've mentioned ancestors at the very same time, and you believe in both of them.
Correct, yes.
How do we embrace both at the same time?
Read the Bible. The Bible embraces ancestors all the way. Read the Bible. There's no place in the Bible where they introduce a king without telling you who his father is. There's no place in the Bible that mentions a prophet without telling you they'll always say son of David or son of or this.
But then the Bible doesn't. Yeah, the only part where the Bible ignores is the African.
Correct. Don't forget that we're also westernized in this Christianity. You know what I'm saying? And true Christianity, in my belief, is understanding the true roots of what prayer is. You can't pray in a language that was not your mother tongue. How do you expect your angels, you know? That's why I asked, what language do you dream in? Only if you dream in English. I don't know. You must be worried. You must be worried, man. Even if you couldn't win, understand, it's fine. You'll learn Zulu along the way. But now if your dreams are in English now, you want to no, this is even when you're thinking, what language do you think in? What is your internal process? You have to be Africanized through and through. Through and through. Rather think of the solution in Zulu first and then give it to them.
Are you sure, Mina? I never had an English dream. You know, since you said that, like,
I don't remember dreaming in English. I don't remember dreaming in English. I'll be lying to you. I don't. I honestly can't. You know. So it just kind of shows and makes you understand one important thing. You who you are inside. Your true being is what people must get to know. It's what people must take from you. Don't. You know, I'm advising myself at the same time. Is that don't take what other people put onto you and make it you. You know, you can't. You can't take that and make it you. So you have to be in a position. You have to be in a position whereby, you know, at the end of the day, sonke la emhlabeni size siyi-one. You understand? So if uzot depend komunye umuntu kulawo limala khona. And unfortunately, yes, bakhona abantu bazokujabulisa, bazohleka nawe, bazoganga nawe. But then at the end of the day, when you go to sleep at night, ulala nobani. You sleep with yourself. You know? That's why I was even talking to...
No, but when you sleep with your wife, right?
No, not... not in front of the kids, man.
No, but sleep.
Yeah, when you sleep, when you close your eyes, inside your brain, inside your conscience, it's just you. When you switch off those lights, you know, I was talking to Asanda, the CEO of my company. I told her one important thing. I'm like, you know, the day I lose my conscience or the day somebody feels like they've lost their conscience, you must know that the Spirit of God has left you. If you're able to do harm to the next person and do things that are malicious to the next person and hurt the next person, swear at the next person, talk badly about the next person, create false narratives about the next person, and you go to bed with a smile at night, you're pure evil. God has left you. But the day you have guilt, you do those things because we're human, we're mistakes. Sometimes we do things without noticing that you're hurting the next person. And the day you acknowledge and you realize, actually, what I've done is wrong. That's your conscience. That's God within you speaking. And that will make you go to that person and say, I'm sorry. I apologize. If
comedians always hurt people's feelings.
Yes, they do. Because we are very hurt people as well.
Did that also make you acknowledge that you've also caused others pain along the way?
No, I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair. I believe my comedy career really hasn't caused people pain because how do I pain you by talking about how I was raised? You know?
Or when you don't really target individuals.
No, you laugh at my pain.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
So you're not one of those that...
No. It's not within me. It's not within me. What I'll do, I'll make fun of myself rather. Thing is, and then you guys laugh at what this imperfection is. And maybe you'll be able to relate and find that imperfection within yourself. And that's what...
Hence, I'm trying to think. I know most of your jokes and you're right. I'm not getting one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to research after this show.
It's all stories, like, you know, when there's a thing saying, there's a saying that says, hurt people hurt people. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Yeah. It's actually a very selfish statement. Actually, when I think about it, it's a very selfish statement. It would be very selfish of me because I'm hurt. You know, it would be very selfish of me because it would be very selfish of me if my health is not right, then I affect the next person.
But then, you know, I'm listening to you. You're sounding now suddenly as a motivational speaker. You are inspiring me. You know,
thank you.
I feel like there's a change in my life after listening to what you're saying, because you're looking at all what you've gone through in a very positive manner.
Yeah.
And, you know, you wish even the cancel culture regime could look at life that way. I know a lot have changed their minds. I mean, a lot do change their minds. I mean, there's this boy that was a TV presenter. He got back and...
Yeah, we did a show together, actually, Deal or No Deal.
Oh,
it was
nice.
actually quite amazing to be with him, because he was also another man who faced public cancel culture because of his own personal relations, you know? So I think as a Machita, we should have more support groups, more things, more conversations that actually, you know, hit the heart of the man.
More especially if you've got a son. You're lucky it's just girls, but if you've got a son, you're thinking, you don't want them to go through.
Can you imagine how your son feels every time you go through public scrutiny? He wishes that he can go out there and kick everybody's butt. Trust me, my kids have been wanting to say, you know what, Dad, we can't allow them to talk about you like this. We're not gonna stand. We're gonna speak out.
And you say no.
I'm like, no, calm down. It's not your battle to fight.
And how support from the family, from the wife, from relative, from...
You know what, I have a lot of support from my family, but you know, this situation has kind of caused a big rift in my family, you know, in my family dynamic. You know, I think that everybody has seen and known that, you know, my wife and I were publicly separated at some point in time. And within that public separation, I got a lot of scrutiny, you know, and I got scrutiny because I aired out the fact that I was traumatized by a black woman.
Oh yes, you got into trouble.
Yeah, I got into trouble by saying that I'm traumatized by a black woman. And there was a point in time where I felt like I don't want to ever date or touch a black woman.
I remember you said that.
Yeah, when I was telling you about when I want to tell you this, who even says you are attractive to when? And I was like, where's that one woman that will say, Mongez, on behalf of black women, we apologize that you feel that way.
Yeah.
Where is the woman for change activist that will come to a person like me who's hurt by feminism and say, we're sorry, but feminism is not supposed to hurt the man. Feminism is supposed to make the man aware that there is la femme. You understand? So now, when I become overly misogynistic and I stand for men, it's not right. You can't stand for men in South Africa because GBV is the thing that runs. You know what I'm saying? And don't forget, GBV only counts for small boys.
Sure.
As a grown-ass man like yourself, you can't go and say you're reporting GBV. It's impossible.
Yeah, we're embarrassed.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. You understand? But there's SPV, which is socially, this is social violence towards people. Social violence is men being put into a corner and said, men are trash. That is GBV to men. Men are not, men don't count. Or men have had their chance, it's us now. You understand? Well, those kind of narratives, yes, they in some other spaces, it's required because women don't get opportunity. But at the end of the day, we have to think and go back to the basics. Indoda yini kahle kahle in the household.
Is indoda even needed anymore?
That's the question. I think there's a lot of independent women out there. Yes, we don't take that away from you. We don't take away the fact that you are independent and you can do things for yourself. And me, oh, I'm educated. Oh, I can't date a man. Oh, ngakwazi ukwenza in. You will be a millionaire. Ujola net garden boy in your jail. You'll be you know what? You have to understand something. At the end of the day, play your African role in society. Then you'll see how things smoothly will run. If a woman plays her role in the household and a man plays his role in the household, you'll see that there is no such thing as equality within that space. How can you want to be equal to me? It's not possible. Yeah. I can give you...
But wouldn't you also say that that's also what's creating a problem, us not acknowledging our roles?
Yeah. Abu Maluma Basayako. Where's the Abu Maluma? Do you still remember the culture of being Umalum? We don't see that anymore. What do we see? Abu Maluma Beju, Abu TikTok. Hey, Malume. You understand? There is no a cycle. The man is disappearing in social society. And us standing together like this is kind of saying, you might matota suguman sikona, and your voice is allowed. Your voice is meant to be heard. At the same time, as a man, you need to be able to voice out your things and be cognizant of what happens around you. Because sometimes the things that we say can hurt women. Women are very emotional beings, you know? So sometimes I say things that are so straightforward, like, hey, it's the truth. Yeah. So I can't say I don't want to date a particular person, you know? I have to, I can't say I don't want to date a particular race. I have to describe the person I don't want to be with. I don't want a person who does not love me. I don't want to be with a person who does not respect me. I don't want to be with a person who does not value me. I don't want to be with a person who does not see me for who I'm supposed to be in the household. You know, those are the characters that you are supposed to attack. Not attacking the woman, not attacking the man. You understand? Being empathetic and being sympathetic is one of the greatest African traits. You know, if you're not able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, it becomes extremely difficult for you to ever make it through a situation that you are going to go through one day. If you are not able as a man to put yourself in my shoes, I don't want to lie to you, you're a coward, bro. If you cannot imagine being in the worst situation as a man, you're a coward. You have to understand that sometimes we're sitting ducks to society, and all we have is our integrity. You know, I don't think that anyone can tell me about my integrity. The only person who can tell me about my integrity is God. But now society has reached a point whereby they can actually judge your integrity and tell you, make assumptions as to when you're this type of a person, and therefore we're keeping you in this kind of a box, and that's where you belong, and society must never touch you.
And all courtesy of cyberbullying as well.
Correct. Actually, now cyberbullying it's a crime in South Africa.
Yeah, because for me, I feel like the sentences or, you know, whatever must be harsh. Because cyberbullying can actually destroy your life.
Yeah, it can. I mean, I know a lot of people who have committed suicide because of that. That suicide runs through my mind every day. Every single day.
But you can't tell me right now.
Every single day out there. Waking up in the morning, I have to reconvince myself who I am.
Yeah.
Every single day, it's a new fight. Every day.
Which is why we have to give you support.
Yeah.
We have to support one another.
Yeah.
Because, you know, sometimes it's the people you surround yourself with. And sometimes it happens for a reason that gods decide to take you through that so that you can eliminate the nonsense.
Do you know?
Sometimes it helps you eliminate.
What hurt me the most about what you said, Arthur, it really touched me inside my heart when you said that I speak from a place of wisdom. And my wisdom comes from experience, guys. There's no way you can ever be wise without going through things, you know? You have to go through shit in order for you to become wise. You can't go to school to be wise, bro. You go to school to acquire knowledge. Knowledge does not teach you about life. Knowledge gives you the tools on how to facilitate yourself as a human being. But without experience, you'll never have wisdom. You know?
I'm now going to change the topic so that we don't get too much emotional.
I got you. It's not that I'm emotional. I don't want you to ever make me run away from we should allow ourselves to feel the way we feel. And don't think that I'm in a place whereby I'm unstable. I'm very much stable. But I'm a human being because I bleed, I cry, I feel pain, I laugh, I do all these things, you know? And I want to be remembered forever as a person who was able to stand through things that other people would not be able to stand through. I want to be remembered as a person who was an example to those that want to know what hope is. Hope has got no space for doubt. So if I say I've got hope for the better in my life, I can't be negative or doubt anything else, but I have to believe. Yeah.
Yo. Okay, when I met you, you were doing gaming.
Yes.
There was a lot of kids around you.
Yeah.
They all looked happy.
Just like you here, man.
Just like them.
Yeah.
There was a lot of kids.
Yeah.
And they were seeing Tall Esmo.
Yeah.
The one I love.
Yeah.
The one that inspires me. Mm-hmm. The one that I idolize.
Yeah.
And you were there being the tallest man on that exhibition stand.
Yes.
And you were taking care of them.
Yes.
How did you get into gaming?
How I got into gaming, my uncle stole me a golden china. What don't you golden china from one of his friends, and we managed to have the opportunity to play games. And for me, what made me fall in love with gaming was the ability to imagine. You know, games are imagination. Games are storytelling. Games are things that can be able to take your mind to a different space. Games are a place whereby creativity is limitless, you know? So when I fell in love with gaming, that for me kind of allowed me to be the true self that's within me. In my mind, in my imagination, nothing is impossible. I can fly, I can swim in underwater for as long as I want to, I can leave the planet, I can do whatever. That's my imagination. And being able to play with my imagination on a more visual space, which is gaming, that made me fall in love with it completely.
So you realized that things are not as gloomy as they used to be. Mm-hmm. Where you excel, which is entertainment. I know gaming is still part of entertainment.
It's my life.
But you now went into gaming and you are also still excelling there.
Yes.
But what pushed you into that corner? Were you with, is it Tem?
Yeah, Tem Gaming. What pushed me into that corner was, yes, as was udlala a PlayStation better than the ones that own one at home. Have you ever had a friend that came to visit you and played your PlayStation?
I'm one of those friends.
Yes.
My friend had it.
Correct. So now I'm all about giving that kid.
But you understand what he's talking about?
Yeah.
You don't own it, but
once you touch it, yes, this. Yo, man. We now that's where the word mama came from. Say mama. Yeah, imagine we a mama dog. Yeah. More fucking 5 up in that arcade machine when's a show. Yeah. The 5 up here last. You know what I'm saying?
So why is it always the case though?
I don't know what it is. Like, the game gets you hooked, and this is the experience I want all of.
And there's that kid that stands there for the whole day.
Abuge.
Yeah. But you give him a chance. He even directs you.
Yes, now those kids need this opportunity. You know, my mission is to put a controller in every boy's hand. That's my mission. And if I put a controller in your hand, it's substituting the gun. It's substituting the knife. It's substituting the fist.
Oh, now I'm starting to understand. So you are trying to also reduce crime, find opportunities for these young people. But how are you doing it though?
How I'm doing it?
Because I saw you at that stand. Mm-hmm. It's the only stand, Karabo is my witness, the only stand that had so many people.
Correct.
All through the day.
Yeah.
Non-stop.
All the way. We even had to call security.
Even the minister, you saw even when the minister came.
She came.
In fact, people do endorse you. You remember the minister went to grab you?
Yeah, she did.
The minister walked in and he went to grab you.
Yeah, she did.
If you remember, I even had to take my cap so the minister can go down. Because the minister is interested in tallest mode.
I think that she was mostly taken by the fact that these things are not just games, but I managed to create a business opportunity for kids to be able to participate and service their communities. So it's not just me who's out there helping other kids to get off the street or helping other kids to find a new career in life. Don't forget that now most jobs are becoming redundant because of technology. I'm a fourth industrial revolutionist. Now, for those who don't understand what the fourth industrial revolution is that you need to know that the world goes through different changes. Like, for example, the first industrial revolution was us moving from being, people who are primitive to people who use tools.
That was the first.
That's the first industrial revolution. The second industrial revolution was motorization. You understand? Through steam, through coal power, through,
That was
combustion.
the
second industrial revolution. The third industrial revolution was the Y2K phase, Internet of Things, computers, lifestyle and wellness. Those are the biggest businesses that have come out of the industrial revolution. Have you realized that you are able to sell a lifestyle? The third industrial revolution allows you to sell intangible things. Coca-Cola sells you intangible things.
Yeah.
No one can sell you happiness. It's impossible. You understand? But we fall in love with an intangible fact. You fall in love with something that you know is unattainable. But when you attain it, you reach a place of Shangri-La in your mind. Shangri-La it's an abyss. It's a beautiful space of peace and relaxation.
Nike, you can do it.
Yes, you can do it. Yeah, that's what it is. So
now you are on the
fourth industrial revolution. Now the fourth.
In fact, we're moving to the fifth, but we're still on the fourth.
We're still on the fourth. Now, out of these three industrial revolutions, are you aware that the black person has always been the consumer?
Yeah.
We are the consumer of things. All right. Now, in the fourth industrial revolution, us as a nation, us as black people, or us as the youth, have an opportunity to become pioneers. These are one of the spaces that is pushing fourth industrial revolutionism. Because what are you doing? You are using digital material. Your screen in the back is not an old school green screen. This is latest technology. You're exposed to things that are changing the world. So if, for example, right now you want to become an accountant, or you want to become a doctor, or you want to become, or whatever, a nurse, all those typical careers that we know of, if you don't back it up with some form of artificial intelligence learning or technology-based learning, you will be replaced by the very same thing that's online right now. There's, for example, there's robots who can operate on you without being controlled by anyone. There's teachers, there's artificial intelligence teachers that teach kids how to do things online. The teacher's job is gone. Now, how do you still become a teacher but then be fourth industrial revolutionized? You have to learn coding. Coding is the new English. If you don't know how to code as a human being, from 2025 going forward, you basically don't know how to speak English. You understand? And within the world of robotics as well, things are being more automated. A lot of people who do manual labor-based work are losing their jobs because why? There's a robot who can do it 24/7 without complaining or going on strike or asking for extra money or whatever it is.
So what's your role there at Tem Gaming?
So my role at Tem Gaming as the co-founder and the chairman of Tem Gaming, my role is to basically lead out and roll out the industrial revolution through the Department of Telecommunications and Postal Services. Our responsibility is to, number one, create a curriculum and insert a curriculum into the schools that will allow kids to actually open up their minds to the fourth industrial revolution. So currently, as we speak, we are working with a couple of schools, and we're working with Ikurulweni as well, because I come from Tembisa, so I've got a very close relationship with Ikurulweni North and Ikurulweni South District as well, whereby we are going to be instilling a prototype curriculum that's going to go into these schools and give these kids an opportunity to become the next Elon Musks in the country.
That's actually good, but my question is,
yes,
why limit it to Ekurhuleni?
It's not limited to Ekurhuleni, it's a nationwide thing. It's just that now, because this is so new, the government or SAQA doesn't even have the right accreditation to give a person who will become a quantum physicist in South Africa.
Is there even a SETA that looks after that? No. It's supposed to be MIC SETA, right?
It's supposed to be MIC SETA, but then MIC SETA can't relate with what we do because it doesn't exist in the framework of things. You understand? That's why.
So we are behind then
we're
as
very
a country.
Much behind. So what I managed to do with
if there's no SETA that can even accommodate you.
Yeah, what we managed to do as a team is that we stood up in Parliament. We got invited to stand in Parliament and actually get esports and Fourth Industrial Revolution-based sports approved as a national sport in the country. Now there are SETAs available. Now there's funding available, like, for example, Youth Life, for example, NYDA, for example, Department of Telecommunications and Technologies. They are only now opening up to the fact that, wait a second, we need to fund these things.
But then, who's your target market and who are the potential stakeholders in this?
Okay, my target market is ECD to FET. And then the potential stakeholders is first and foremost the private corporate sector, because government can't really afford or need stakeholders to help them to buy the expensive equipment we use in the world of esports.
But how expensive is that? And I'm asking all these questions because I lost the guy that did over 100 music videos to esports. He's now staying in London.
Yeah.
A white guy.
Yeah.
He did all my music videos. He was my neighbor here. And he kept on saying, all these podcasts, we've done proposals for these things 10 years ago.
Yeah.
We were supposed to shoot, and he said, I'm tired, I'm leaving the country.
It's because...
And I'm now concerned listening to you and seeing that you might be another one that leaves the country should things not happen the way you expect them to.
Correct, yeah. It's
because
possible.
you need support.
It's possible, correct.
What do we do? What are your potential stakeholders? Government has to, one way or the other.
Yeah.
We can't say corporate, because corporate will only come in if it's business.
Correct.
But also, we need to, as government, encourage business.
Yes, yes.
Have you spoken to the DTIC?
Yes, we've spoken to DTIC, we've spoken to SETA, we've spoken to SEDA. We started this communication in 2017. They're still kind of warming up to this new wave that's coming in. It's very slow, but it's progressive at times. Yeah, it's very, very slow, Arthur.
And then, so now what you're saying is only the kids from Ekurhuleni are privileged.
Not necessarily so. Our prototype curriculum is going to be embedded nationwide if the prototype curriculum works correctly in Ekurhuleni.
And how long is it going to take?
Asanda, we've started already. Né? So already we're implementing the curriculum as from the end of July. The first 6 months will be the tester to see is this curriculum working? Does the government have enough funding to be able to allow us to facilitate and train the teachers in order for them to educate the students?
But how do you see that changing the face of South Africa?
Wow. It's going to change the face of South Africa forever, because don't forget that with Fourth Industrial Revolutionism, we're allowing people to pioneer new things that are needed by the world. So 4IR is about creating real-time solutions that will last a lifetime.
Because I'm hearing you and I'm thinking, esports,
yes,
gaming, but how does that bring us money? Because a lot of people don't understand that the creative industries are even bigger than mining and agriculture in this country.
Yes, esports alone globally contributes around about 2.3 trillion to the world's GDP.
Yes,
yeah,
that's true.
2.3 trillion.
Creative industries, even in this country, creative industries are doing better than agriculture, better than mining.
Correct.
But we are not embracing that. No. And I'm actually impressed to hear a black brother saying all these things.
Yeah, because you know when you say a word like trillion, you're a trillion. You have a trillion. Oh no, mom, it's so sorry. It's the truth. There's a lot of multi-millionaires who live off esport. Yeah. There's a lot of multi-millionaires who have created codes, who have created systems that assist the government. For example, we do a thing called a hackathon. We'll invite beautiful kids like yourself. We'll give you the stakeholders and say, go into their systems and find where the weaknesses are. And then when we find the weakness, we create a solution that is sellable to that corporate client.
Which is what I always say to people, that it's funny that the people that create viruses are the very same people
who
that
create
end
the
up saying
antivirus.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you don't give us the opportunity, then we become the problem in your system. We become the problem to society. You understand?
I feel like the process is a bit slow, though.
It is slow. I just think that it needs the right influence. Cyril Ramaphosa was really kicking it hard with the 4IR, building the smart city, doing all these things. Then COVID came, and the whole structure changed. And then now it's like they're only creeping back into it slowly but surely.
Will we ever see the smart city? It's supposed to be here. Remember, it's just here. It's supposed to be here.
Do you know
I always say I'm lucky to be in Midrand.
Yeah.
Because all these beautiful things are around Midrand.
Yeah. They've already started
because it's supposed to be in the West Rand,
in the West Rand.
At Mulder's Drift, all those areas.
Correct.
Next to Lanseria.
They've already started laying out the cabling infrastructure for the smart city.
Wow.
So already big companies.
Oh, so it's happening.
Yeah, fiber is already being installed. There's optic fiber cables running throughout that whole space.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's already starting. The smart city is there. So if you're going to be studying something, study something that you'll be able to create a business that can bring about a service or sell equipment or rent out equipment that can be able to assist in the smart city.
You spoke about government not being able to afford gaming.
Yeah.
How much does it need, Kandi?
Excuse me? Must I tell them the real?
Yeah, tell us the numbers.
Okay. Okay, for example, like we have a business opportunity called a gaming container, whereby we want to subsidize these gaming containers to up and coming business people. They're worth around about 249,000 and create a revenue of more than 1.2 million rand a year.
So why would a government not want to invest in such?
That's the question. Yeah, that's why we here. That's why we speak out on platforms like this. That's why we come to seek advice from the elderly like yourself who have more experience in these things. Maybe we'll be able to get much more clarification as to how do we, get this thing off the road.
Yeah, because I'm looking at Department of Communications and I'm looking at DTIC and I'm thinking these are your target markets.
Correct.
And there's Department of Small Business as well.
Yes.
Already there's 3 departments that,
correct. We work with a lot of gatekeepers as well. So.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You understand?
No,
so
but that's a fact.
Yeah, it's a fact. So if you're in a space and like for example, if you invited me to that joint, right?
Yes.
And then you say, Mo, come and do your stand here, NYT is doing whatever. And then the minister comes to me and shakes my hand and says, you want to give me business? Then you come back to me and say, Mo, you can't do business without the minister, without me. And even if you go and do business with the minister without me, I'm going to make sure I close your channels. So these are the type of things that we are fighting against in our business. You understand?
Which needs to be stopped.
Yeah, correct. Even though it has nothing to do with that person. Middlemen are the ones who control what happens in our government.
You went through what you went through.
Yes, sir.
I went through what I went through.
Yes, sir.
And it made me deviate into this business that I'm in.
Me too.
And I'm happier this side. Then the question is, I'm going to ask you the question that they always ask me.
Yes.
Are we losing you from the entertainment?
100%.
Without a doubt. No.
You can never lose me from entertainment because esports is a form of entertainment. When we, for example,
but jokes.
Nah. I think I'm a jokes. What I'll do is that before I think I'm turning the age of 14 next year. So what I want to do a very private and exclusive one-man show that I can be able to record for DVD and give it for free to the SABC so that my name can be immortalized forever.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what
we would love to be involved, Lep.
Thank you.
Don't forget us, please.
I know.
We'll find a way.
We're having an offline conversation after this.
Yeah, no. We'll find a way. Because honestly, I always say also in this country, as black brothers, we also don't help one another.
Yeah.
We don't uplift one another.
I think it's more showing the next person what you have than, You make people aspire to something that you have, but don't show them how to get it.
Oh, yeah.
You see, you guys here, you are being given opportunity. We are showing you how we get it.
Yes, true that.
Being in a specialized internship is the biggest opportunity you can ever be in. Because first and foremost, people like yourself, right, exist in the highly privileged world. There's a white kid whose family owns a production company and never had to question once with the camera.
Yeah.
Never had to question once with the internet. Never had to question once with what is a computer. You understand? So you guys being in a situation like this, it's very important that you learn the fundamentals first. You have a lot of catching up to do, black child. You have a lot of catching up to do, black child. And if you're not curious enough, you're gonna get left behind. And if you think curiosity killed the cat, you're definitely wrong. I would rather live a life of being able to take a risk than to live a life of comfortability and know that I have not extended my true potential.
You know, I feel like we haven't said a lot.
Yeah.
And we need to hook up again.
Definitely so.
After a few months when that prototype is
ready.
When it's ready.
It is ready, yeah.
It is ready.
It's when? 2nd of August.
2nd of August, it will be launched.
We are working with a school called Impilisweni School of Specialization. South Africa now has specialization schools. And this school specializes in science, technology, mathematics, engineering, and logistics. And we are working hand in hand with the school to create a science fair whereby stakeholders will be able to come and see what these kids have actually done with the technology we've taught them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So any upcoming shows?
No. There is no upcoming shows at this moment in time. I'm purely and primarily focused and given my life and my dedication and time to the world of esports, to the world of, you know, putting a controller in a black child's hand. That's where I'm at right now. So you're going to miss me a little bit on TV. You're going to miss me a little bit in the clubs. I retired once before because when I went into this industry, we stood in the parliament and parliament gave us a budget of 1.9 billion rand to exercise 4IR in the country. And I was like, what? I don't need to do this anymore. I'm out, you know? And then I realized that 1.9 billion has to go such a long way. It's actually a very small amount.
Yeah.
It's a very, very small
amount. For what you're
amount.
trying to do.
Correct. Yeah.
It's actually smaller.
Correct, yeah.
You know.
So I think that me retiring was also giving people a chance like to elevate and to put themselves in a space whereby they can be a Tolesmo, you know? So,
but we're not going to accept that Tolesmo retires, and we're going to keep on demanding him. And I'm one of those people that are going to book him, and I will publicize it that I've booked Tolesmo because he ain't going nowhere.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Any last words, or are you fine?
You know what? All I can say is love and respect to everybody out there. Treat others the same way you want to be treated. And don't forget that, you know, there's nothing that you can ever accomplish and there's nothing that you can ever do without dreaming it first. You have to think about it, then it exists. There's no such thing as impossible. If you can think about going from here to Mars, therefore it's possible.
Wow.
Thank you.